Hello everybody, it's Nate here from Preparation 101, and today we're going to be covering my get home bag. Now in the previous video I went over what I'm calling my bailout bag, and if you haven't seen that yet, you should check it out before watching this one, because this goes hand in hand with the get home bag. There's a lot of tools in here that you won't see inside of this bag, so you might watch this video and think something's missing. You better go back and check out this video, so then you'll see that it's here. So as you can see, it's just a regular kind of a hunting style backpack. It's an extra backpack that I had, so it's what I used. It's the perfect size that sits comfortably on my back. It's a pretty lightweight kit, maybe 20 pounds at the most, and this just stays in the back of my vehicle. It's always there for if I ever have to use it, if something goes crazy. And this is put together for two purposes. There's if I were out in the woods on an adventure, as you've seen in other videos, I like to go out and explore. What if something happens while I'm out there and I'm stuck, I'm stranded, I'm broken down? The area that I live, there's not a lot of cell phone coverage once you get away from the towns, so I can't just make a quick phone call for help. You know, I might have to walk for half a day or even overnight just to get to an area where I can make a phone call to let somebody know that I need help. So this bag is designed as kind of a survival kit for that situation, for if I want to be found. And then it's also designed for if I don't want to be found. So you keep that in mind while you're looking at the items that I'm going to show you. And before we go into this bag, I do want to talk about my location a little bit. So I do live in a small town. I don't live in a big city, and the items will vary from person to person based on the type of area that you live in. So this bag is designed to fit my needs, and I want to share this with you because maybe it'll help give you guys some ideas of what you might like to carry if you haven't started one, or maybe you'll see something that you're missing from your bag if you already have one. So I do live in a rural type area, a small town. There's only a couple roads that go from one town into the next in this area. So if something were to happen and that road were blocked off, I could have quite the journey to get home. Or maybe I'm in one of the other towns in my area doing some grocery shopping, and I'm driving home and things are crazy and I need to get home because that's where my stockpile is. That's the safe place to be if something were to happen, if there was some sort of disaster. And I would have to walk through a lot of open country, and I'd be trying to avoid roads, which would be pretty easy in this area, as you can see here. So keep that in mind. This is what this kit's designed for, is for if I had to travel off the grid, off the beaten path, to either get rescue or to get back home where it's safe. So the bag here, it is a camo bag. Like I mentioned a few times already, I live in a rural community. People talk a lot about the gray man. You don't want to have camo or tactical looking stuff that stands out. Well, in the area that I live in, camo doesn't really stand out. Camo's like the plaid around here. Everybody has camo on in something, you know, camo seat covers on their cars. They wear camo shirts and pants all the time. So, you know, women have camo purses. It's just a common theme around here is camo. So this isn't going to stand out any more than if this were a gray or blue backpack that you would want to have if you were in a more urban environment to try and avoid standing out. But for me, this isn't going to stand out just because of the area that I live in, the part of the state that I live in. So attached here at the bottom, I've got kind of my sleep system, or if the weather were really, really bad, cold, snow, wet conditions, this is something that I can put on to help keep warm while I'm moving around. I have a pair of insulated coveralls. The bib style. so that my arms are a little bit more free to move around, and if the weather is bad, I do prepare for that, and I will have a coat with me to put over this. This is just an extra layer of protection. Something nice, light, easy to get into. If I had to sleep in it and take off running, I don't have to spend much time packing it up. So we'll start with the exterior pouches on this pack before we dive into the main pocket here. This little pocket right here on top, I have a small pair of binoculars. Nothing fancy, but if I were to have to look ahead and really check my path home, or maybe I'm looking for a road, a water source, whatever it may be, these can really come in handy for that type of situation. I also have some little tools here. I do have a Sawyer squeeze filter inside here, and these are just some of the things that come with it to help you attach to other bottles or to clean your filter or use the filter as a drinking straw. I also have right on the top hand warmers, just in case it's that crazy cold situation, you get a little bit wet, you're going to need something else to help keep you warm. And if you're in stealth mode, building a fire might not be a good idea. You don't want to attract attention to yourself. Now this pocket here, I have the Sawyer micro filter, which will attach to this bag. You fill the bag with your dirty water, squeeze the bag, water flows through this filter. You can drink right out of the filter there. This filter will also attach to the platypus bottle that I have inside of this bag right here. So that's part of why these go together, is I have a larger drinking container right here. And this will also attach to something else that I'll show you once we get inside the main compartment of this pack. I have more first aid items, and along with just my basic bandages and antiseptic stuff, I have more hand warmers and wet ones, wipes for if I had to touch some really dirty stuff. Just, you know, hygiene's important. You don't want to get sick to add to your problems. And cordage, more cordage. There is cordage in here, there's cordage here, there's more cordage inside here. Cordage is very important. I can't even list all the things that you can use cordage for, but when you're improvising things, cordage is one of the most important things to have. And speaking of improvisation, here is a small repair kit. This was designed by the Central Oregon Survival Network. This little mini tin here has thread, tape, Velcro. It just repair clothing, repair gear, repair yourself if you had to. There's even a small fishing kit all packed away inside of this little tin right here. That does it for that pocket. Let's go ahead and take a look in this one. Matches. Just another way to help start a fire. Again, there's fire starters in here. Just to back up, just in case. If you need a fire, you want to make sure you can get a fire. Now, along with that theme, I've got these two old shoe cans here. One of them, cotton balls, Vaseline. One of the greatest do-it-yourself fire starters there is. There's a lot of stuff on the market that tries to replicate these, but never seems to outperform them. And this one here, this is kind of my own little emergency fire starter. I've got cotton here. I pull up the cotton. This is filled with fatwood shavings. I light the cotton, throw whatever I'm trying to start my fire with on top of that, and this will just really help if I'm in a situation where everything's damp. This is going to burn for quite a while. Build my fire on top of this. Should get pretty much anything I want ignited. And I do have a small stainless steel cup. This is something that I might improve in the future because this is a small cup, but it's just what I had, and I didn't want to put a lot of money into this. So here's a way to boil water if I had to boil water. I've got one more pocket on this side. Electrical tape. Just like cordage, you can use tape for so many things. Repairing your gear, yourself, attaching things to other things. Tape's great. Space blanket. If you are in stealth mode and you don't want to have a fire going at night, this can really help make the difference on keeping you warm. It can also be used to improvise shelter, keep the rain off you. Knife sharpener. Just in case I'm on the road for a while, I have to use my knife a lot, the knife starts getting dull, I want to make sure that that knife stays nice and sharp. And the last thing on the outside pockets is a compass, a small little compass here. Now this is not a big name brand because, like I said, I didn't want to have to put a lot of money out of pocket into this kit. So instead of putting my nice compass in here, I found the most highly rated cheap compass to give it a try, and it seems to work pretty good. I'd say it's important to have a compass because you likely know the direction you need to go to get where you're trying to go. And if, let's say, you were in some sort of an accident out in the middle of nowhere, you might be a little disoriented whenever you come to, and you might not remember which way you were going, and the compass can help point you back in the right direction, get you back on track. A couple more little things here. I have a small flashlight and some more extra batteries. A spork, as well as a little steak knife. Little combo deal here, just eating utensil. Now those of you guys that have been following my channel for a while know that I do subscribe to the Alpha Box from Survival Boxes, and some of this gear is just extra gear I've gotten from those boxes, and this was a great way to put that stuff to use. Now we are going to go into the main pocket here, the main compartment. I really like the way that this bag opens up. So we'll just start on top and we'll kind of work our way through this, not in really any particular order. I do have some work gloves. So if I'm gathering wood, making shelter, I can protect my hands. If I'm in a little more urban area and I need to climb something, I can also protect my hands from sharp edges. Get back, please. So next, kind of keeping with being prepared for that colder weather, I do have a stocking hat here. Just want to make sure I don't freeze to death. I don't want that to be the reason I don't get home. A small dust mask. Now, one common thing in my area is we do get forest fires, and it can get really smoky, and I could get cut off by a forest fire if I ended up in the wrong area and one flared up, and I might have to walk through a really smoky area. Having a dust mask could make a big difference for how well I can make it. Now right here on the top, I do have some food. Now this is food that requires water. I have some freeze-dried blueberries, milk, granola, add cold water. It's just like, it's a nice breakfast, nice little boost. Could be a quick little snack to have on the road, on the walk. And I do have another meal here, this one at noodles and chicken. Just more energy, more calories. These are nice to have hot, but you can cold soak these. Just fill the water, fill the pouch up with water, Ziploc it, put it back in your bag, and half hour or so later the food will be soft and edible. It just won't be as enjoyable as if you were to have a fire and heat it up. But that is part of the point of having my cup here, that I can boil water in to heat this up. Now, emergency hand crank radio. solar powered, hand crank. It's nothing real fancy, has a flashlight just in case you need another flashlight. This does have the NOAA weather service, so you can get emergency weather reports and other emergency broadcasts. Just kind of, if things are going crazy, you can get a little bit of a heads up on what's going on around you right here. Some more clothing items. I have a tube scarf, just something small, extra, that has a lot of uses. You can use this just like you'd use a bandana. You can put it on your head, protect your head, ears, neck, face warmer, face mask, just all kinds of uses for one of these things. Poncho. Not fancy, just a plain old poncho. Use this as like a small tarp. Obviously, keep you dry. That's the thing. You can kind of see the theme here. I want to be protected as much as I can from anything that's going on around me while I'm trying to be on the move. Now, as I mentioned, more cordage. I think this is about another 75 feet of cordage right here. So I'm really well covered in the cordage department. Water. Each one of these pouches is, I believe, 4 ounces of water. Maybe 6 ounces of water. 4 1/4 ounces of water. I've got 2, 4, 6 pouches. I have enough water right here to hydrate both of my meals. Already with me. I don't have to gather water for that or waste my drinking water. If water's scarce and short, well, you can bet I'm going to drink water before I'm going to hydrate my food. Also, I have two small bottles of water. And if you're going to be keeping water for a long period of time stored in a container, it's best to get a sealed store-bought container and keep it out of the sun. Nothing's going to grow in here. This water is going to be good to drink as long as I have it. Now, the other trick I wanted to talk about with the Sawyer filters is these can screw on to this bottle. So you could actually use this bottle to collect dirty water, and you can just squeeze your bottle, filter water. Now, one of the main items, my Mora Bushcraft Black. I love this knife, but since I've upgraded, I wanted to make sure this knife had a nice home for if I ever needed to use it. Right here. Some tent stakes. Now these, paired with my poncho, great improvised shelter, quick and easy to set up. Now, as I mentioned, this pack's designed for 2 purposes. One, I want to be rescued, I want to be saved. The other, I don't want to be seen. Well, if I want to be rescued and saved, having something bright to mark a path, some flagging tape here, bright pink. This will just help people find me if I'm trying to help with my self-rescue. Now, back to the cold weather protection, just in case. I've got some mittens here. Now, here's an item that's specific for urban environments, or most likely specific for urban environments. Maybe I need to break into an abandoned building to get shelter. You know, maybe I have to hide inside of something. Maybe I need to get into a car. You just never know. So I have this small pry bar right here, heavy-duty stainless steel pry bar. You can use it to pull nails, pry things open. A lot of stuff you can do with one of these, and it's one of those tools that it's better to have it, not need it, than it is to need it and not have it. Now, back to the cold weather clothing again. As you can see, I'm trying to just really make sure that I protect myself as much as possible. I've got some heavy-duty wool socks right here, some Carhartt Arctic socks. And this big item, I have a Snug Pack jungle blanket in black, just for that stealth mode, tactical. I can compress this down more. These can compress to almost half that size if I wanted to, but I don't need to make it that small for the pack. And if you're going to be storing something that has a loft to it, that's your insulation, is that loft. The tighter you compress this and the longer you leave it tightly compressed, it's not going to loft up as much as when it was brand new. So If I can pack it a little looser, that's just better for keeping the insulative values of this blanket here. And of course we have another drum liner. So with both kits combined, that's lots of stuff for shelter, bedding, you name it. Now, one last item inside of here. It's not something that if I were trying to travel through an urban area and go into that gray man mode, I wouldn't have this out because it would just draw way too much attention. But if I'm in a wilderness area, I might want to have this out just in case. And then I could also use this to get food. And that is the Henry's Survival 22 here. This little stock fits inside this pack nicely. Everything, all the rest of the firearm stored away in the stock. You've got your receiver, your barrel, magazines. It assembles very quickly. It's very simple to put together, very lightweight. And again, this is just one of those items that it's better to have and not need it than need it and not have it. And one of the upgrades I would eventually like to make to this is swap this out with a small compact handgun. And then that would free up a little more space in here. And then I could add some bolt cutters. That's something that's been on my mind, is some bolt cutters in case there's some locked gates that I needed to get through. Be an easy way through. And one last thing in this pack that goes along with this right here. So I do have 2 boxes of extra ammo, just in case. So that does it for my get home bag. I hope you guys enjoyed this little series of videos on my vehicle preparedness. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you think I'm missing something, or you want to know more about what it is that I'm carrying, or maybe you carry something different and want to tell me about it, make sure you leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.